People want to see how I scout NewGen, so today that's exactly what we're going to show, which I've used to find insane players like these in my Youth to Gold save. It's of course not completely foolproof, you will find a couple of stinkers here and there. Now, one of the main methods is of course attribute searching. That's probably why a lot of you have clicked on this video if this is the video that you requested, but you do have to set up your scouts because they will ultimately find you players as well. This is my Youth to Gold save, and to be honest, I've neglected this the last couple of years, so I might need to update it because I do have some new scouts as well. What you really need to look at a lot of the time is just setting, especially if you are looking for these new gens before they become expensive, before they make their first move to a bigger club, and look at the age gap of 15 to 19. So this is how I set it up, and to be honest, this is actually wrong because what I would more rather do is this, because then it gives you a more of a bigger pool. I think sometimes I've got it selected a little bit higher for when I was a little bit worse in the league, and I've just never changed it. But the main reason I always do is, well, the main thing I always do is ongoing, because you don't want them to end. Although obviously top priority is going to be the fastest route to find these players, you want ongoing because you want them to carry on looking for these players each and every time. And then I basically just set them out different areas of the world and have a look to see what I can find in different places. I mean, for example, Central Europe, of course, that's going to get one of the main crux of wonder kids coming through, but they might be a little bit more expensive. The likes of France, Germany, Italy sometimes comes under Southern. But then you have a look at, of course, like the South Americans and Europe just in general. And again, these are too high. I am still finding players, but I'm going to have to lower this if I want to find more and find the ones that I have to develop myself. Because as I say, I am finding these players. You can see there are recommendations coming in. A lot of them are A-star. I mean, this guy here, Barletti, he is at Rennes, which is one of my rivals right now. Quality looking player, to be honest, isn't it? And he has an unflappable media handling, light-hearted personality. These are the things you need to be looking out for with a decent potential. My scouts rate him quite highly in that potential. One thing I'm going to be looking for is in the cons and pros, and maybe downloading a good skin which helps with that, such as this one, the FM Tatel skin. He's a consistent performer. I want that. This is another good one, an individual personality. That's a good personality, and the things that he might fit into your club. He gels well. The biggest one, if he trains well and he has a personality of professional, because you know if he has a good potential, he is going to reach that potential. Now, Rennes obviously got him through their youth intake, so lucky them, but that is the crux of finding these players. Set up your scouts first, and we can see here, there's a good one here, B+ in Chile. This guy's not going to cost us a lot of money at all. 17 years of age. Quite surprised I haven't made a move on him yet. Maybe it's because I'm in France and it's the non-EU rules. I'm only allowed to sign 4 of them or register 4 of them. But for the price of £2.5 million, and I can just flip that guy. But there's another little trick. Here is what your scouts is currently looking at. 31 players. And yeah, some of their ratings might not be very high, but sometimes your recommendations, for example, if you've got them set up wrong like I have, where they are too high there in progress section, they might be cancelled out because of that, but they could be the best player in the world in 5 years time and you've just missed him. So if you have made a mistake, this is potentially where you can look for them, because just have a breeze through, maybe even sort by transfer value, and you'll find the best player in this list. Aurelio here is a goalkeeper. Not a bad one, 18 years of age. Obviously, reflexes, we want that to be slightly higher, but he's got good agility and good balance. So to start off with, set your scouts up correctly. And of course, if you're looking for new gens at that early period, you want to have scouts that have good potential scouting. One of the biggest ones, especially if you're in the top league, go for David Trezeguet because he's unbelievable on this game. 18 adaptability and 20 for both ability and potential. You can't go wrong with that, and he hardly wants that much of a wage. But finding these scouts that have good potential and good adaptability, and then setting them up correctly in your recruitment focus as ongoing. People don't like the recruitment focus this year. I don't mind it. Sometimes it's hit and miss, but for Youth to Gold, it's been clutch for me. Okay, so attribute search then. I've loaded up this database, which I've been using for an experiment, which you might see tomorrow's video, actually, and I'll give you a little brief insider. It might make you want to have a look. It's Perfect Wonder Kids. I've made 5 of them. We've got 1 of them here. Look at that nationality. Now, that is for another day. So this is day day one of being Manchester United manager. That's just the manager that I was holidaying through, so I don't know any of these players. This is a random database. We're in 2030. So let's go straight into the scouting and see who we can find if I was to just take over this save this late on and see if we can find any players that haven't been picked up yet. So if we go into player range, you'll notice scouting range is already on world. That's fantastic. If it isn't on world, change it to world. Once you finish your scouting, go back and select it to whatever price that you think you can afford. We don't want the transfer on because some of these players might not want to come to us right now because they've signed a new contract, but if we keep scouting them, maybe start going to some of their matches, then they'll actually want to join us, and that's a little trick there. So let's take a look then at some of these players. So through attribute searching, what I'm basically looking to do is select a few, maybe 5 attributes for a certain role of player that I'm looking for, and that's how I'm going to find this player. So for instance, I'll show you how to know what attributes to look for in a second. Let's go as high as 21 years of age and really limit what we can find this late on into the game. So I'm going to be looking for finishing. Let's look for a striker. So finishing, composure, off the ball, and acceleration. Those are 4 things that I kind of look at. Are there any 15? There is. There's 2 players. Liverpool have already snapped one up, and there's one here at Girona. He's on loan, probably Man City. Yeah, but he's also quite a good player. Now, he didn't start at Man City. They found him from Sao Paulo on a free transfer, so he looks quite good. I'm guessing Liverpool didn't have this through their youth academy. They didn't. He is Chilean. He is amazing. I bet they didn't pay anything for him. No, £3.3 million last season. So we would have missed out on him, but through attribute searching, I would have found him before Liverpool potentially would have been my player, and that is a very good player. So let's see if there's anybody else, because this is only selected at 15. You're not going to find that many players at 15, especially if they're 16, 17. Sometimes you might want to all the way go down to like 12, 13. That could be your decider. So let's go to 13 at selected this, and obviously transfer value, let's go to the lowest and see who's around. Now, there is a player here at Atletico B team that I would be snapping up. He does have a fickle personality. They always seem to let a lot of players go, so that's always something to look for. Velez, there's a player here from Velez. He looks okay. So there are a few players. Rivaldo here has the name, oh my god, we found one. This is a gem. This is the one we'd be looking for. This is probably the one that I would be looking at buying. 6 foot, 17 years of age, so he would join us when he turns 18, which would only be a month, to be fair, a couple of months there. So around about £6 million. He's got a low wage. He has that good acceleration, not bad pace, so we know we can develop that. But he has 20 determination, which means he has a good personality. Hopefully his professionalism is high. You can find that out through scouting. Fantastic off the ball and teamwork, and of course he can finish. There's your first player, and he's got a cool name. He's called Rivaldo. I'd just sign him for that, to be honest, even if he was terrible. But there are a few more. There's a couple of here at Corinthians that you can look at. He's also quite good, definitely, although he is a little bit older. So there's 2 straight off the bat that I found through 1 attribute search on a database I have never used that we could pick up and potentially turn into a world-class player for us and not let them go to other clubs. Sasha John for Schalke has a very high, look at that. What I'd be doing here, he has 2 years left on his contract. That means he'd be 20. Scout him, make him aware that you want to sign him. That valuation would drop. Eventually, he won't want to sign a new deal. You can have him on a free transfer. There's another little tip for you. Let's find some more players. So if I take off one of them, so let's take off the ball, and we'll go anticipation, possibly, and maybe add pace as well. Let's go for a little bit of a wild one. So Bastian Yanez is still going to be there. If we go down, there's a few here. Look, there's a Bruno Alves. So he's a little bit more expensive than what I had hoped. So we haven't scouted this player at all. So my scouts, obviously, I haven't set it up because this is day 1. Oh, come on. If you've got enough money, maybe you'd go for it. He is 19, so he's got a lot of time ahead of him. But those physicals are fantastic. Yes, he has the low off the ball. He's got a great first touch, great finishing ability. He's a good passer of the ball as well. I mean, you could potentially turn him into a winger because the off the ball is not that good. So as an inside forward, I mean, he's right-footed. I'd be looking to train him on the left and potentially use him with that agility and balance. If you have 28, 40 million pound to spend, there is another good deal there. But we are going to be looking for the less expensive options, the ones that maybe you're looking for, these random countries and clubs that you just think, oh, I never would have thought to even look here. And that's obviously what you need to play around with. And it doesn't look like we're going to find anybody on this search, but this is just for strikers. Even going down to 12, maybe we can find some here. There's a Chinese guy. He is a little bit older than what I'd expect, although he is still good. He is still good. China does have some, they just chuck up some random good ones. Salzburg, we know they always produce a good player. Look at that, 18 years of age. He is worth £4.3 million. I'd be snapping that up for sure if I had a good transfer budget where I can splash my money in, spread it across loads of different wonder kids on a youth to gold, for example. A player like this would be fantastic. He is really, really good, especially if he has a driven personality as well. Hopefully that's a good professionalism added on to that. Okay, but maybe you don't understand what attributes to pick, which is quite a lot of you have been saying in the comments. You don't quite know, or you're asking, Luke, can you please do a list of every single position? I don't need to do that because you can also look for yourself. There's a good player here, a good German midfielder. If you haven't picked him up, just select one of these. If you're looking for a role, have a look at this. Now, the ones in green are the priority. The ones in blue are just a nicety. Is that a word? I don't really know. But the ones in green are the ones you're going to be looking for. So, for instance, a centre midfielder, a deep line playmaker. And if you select different ones, that's what's going to give you different options. But if we want a deep line playmaker in our centre midfield, let's look at some of these green ones. So we want passing, first touch, composure, decisions, vision. Those type of things there. Technique is also really good. So let's pick 4 or 5 of these and take a look. So if I want to have a look at some of these, let's go back here, back into the player range, and then we can select our targets. Again, let's have a look for only 21 years of age. So composure was selected. Yes, we want composure, we want passing, we want vision. What was the other ones? Have a look. First touch, and let's see if we can find anybody at age 15. Well, at the attribute number of 15. So we've got a couple here. There's one for Porto. He's probably worth quite a lot of money. He is, but he is decent. Again, Portugal always come up with these good players. And if they don't end up spawning at one of the big 3, it's a bargain. If they do, you might just have to pay a little bit more, unfortunately. But we've gone down, hold on, right, so we've gone down just to 14. There are a lot of options here, and look how cheap they can be. So there's another one here, Venegas. Oh, come on, like this guy's class. As a shadow striker, it's not even the role we're looking for, and we find players. I find this so often. There was a Serbian player in the youth to gold that I found that had 15 for finishing and composure, but he was a centre mid, and I'm still playing him up front, and he's still doing really well. But this guy, he's wanted by Man City, which is obviously a good sign. Make sure you scout them, by the way, because they could have a terrible potential. He does look good. He has like fantastic off the ball as well, so as a shadow striker, he is phenomenal. He's got great technique, and he can take a free kick. Now, some of his physical attributes, you might be thinking, that's not that good, but he is only 18, so he might grow into a fantastic player. For instance, he has that 15 dribbling, finishing of 14, first touch of 14, and composure, and that's the things that we weren't even looking for. So we found a player there that I would 100% be looking at buying for around about £8 million, and we weren't even looking in that range. So there is a good deep line playmaker by the looks of it here. Yeah, that's not a bad little player either, wanted by Borussia Dortmund, or Brentford, sorry, not Borussia Dortmund. But what about the least expensive player here? He is 21. What a squad player. Passing of 18. First touch. That's everything that we were looking for, and he's a fantastic player. So it's very easy to find the players that you want to have in your squad just through attribute searching 4 or 5 of these attributes, and you just chop and change there. Kind of like what we did there. Another good looking striker, and we weren't even looking for strikers. So as a deep line forward, that guy's phenomenal. So if we would just change a few of these things each time, so I wouldn't, let's take off first touch and maybe go natural fitness, because I always want my centre midfielders to have good natural fitness. Obviously, they're playing in a very hard position. There's no for 15. Is there any for 14? A couple of the same names are coming up, but there's an 18-year-old there from Romania I want to check out straight away. Romania always produce some really good players. Not bad at all, especially for his value. Why not pick him up, see what he turns into? If not, flip him for the price and see if you can get some profit out of it. But just going down to 13, I bet there's plenty more. There is. Rijeka, and he's leaving on a free transfer next summer. So you could pick that guy up for free, and he'd be 20, and he'd be all right. So it's so easy to do. There's a 16-year-old from Uruguay. He's not amazing right now. He might turn out amazing. He has a perfectionist personality. We found him through attribute searching. So it's just as easy as that. This is going to be your best friend, and it also helps you identify better players just through searching different attributes for the key attributes that you want in select roles. It's also giving me a better understanding of the roles that I'm using when you start reading and learning about these roles. That's attribute searching in a nutshell. I hope it helps. If it has, smash a like, and obviously subscribe if you want to see that experiment with the perfect Wonder Kid. Some of you wide-eyed people might have seen more than one, so we'll have a look at that in tomorrow's video. If it's out, I'll chuck it up on screen right now. See you later. Bye-bye.